Hello and welcome to episode 8 of Someone's Gotta Do It. Today's episode is sponsored by tuktuk. Tuktuk is a local golf leisure brand selling a range of hats, t-shirts and hoodies like this one I have here. This is the Shamrock hat with the green tuktuk logo on the front, the Shamrock on the side. Really nice, well-made product. And also with the t-shirts. This is a tuktuk t-shirt with the 3D golf print on the back. Really good quality, well-made t-shirt. And then a product that I really like. They currently have a sale on, and if you use discount code SGDI for Someone's Got to Do It, you can benefit from 15% off your order. That's 15% off with code SGDI. Like I say, a really well-made product and well worth taking advantage of. In today's episode, I sit down with Jack Clarke. Jack was a really cool guest, has done a range of jobs leading him to where he is now, where he owns Life Lately Cafe in Preston. It's a really cool cafe, and you can tell he's got a real passion for coffee. I really enjoyed this episode with Jack. He's done a number of different jobs, and he has a real focus for human interaction and for customer service. It was a really cool episode, and I hope you enjoy it. Hello and welcome to Someone's Got to Do It with me, Callum. And today my guest is Jack Clarke.
How you doing, man? You okay?
You okay?
I'm great.
Thanks for doing this, mate.
Welcome.
I always just go straight in with the first question. So the first question from me, someone you know really well was going to describe you to a stranger, a complete stranger, someone you've never met. What do you think they'd say?
Personally, probably incredibly laid back. Going off past experience, back in the day, one of my teachers was said to my parents, this guy, your son's, if he could be any more laid back, he'd be horizontal. But also laid back, but incredibly ambitious, super ambitious. When he gets something in his mind, he does it, gets it done.
What do you think has happened in your life? So your upbringing and everything that's happened to where you are now to get to your point where you think people would describe you in that way?
I'm an only child, so I had a pretty privileged upbringing. Really, parents really looked after me. Anything I needed, it was sorted. Didn't really grateful of that. I think that it sort of gives you a bit of a bit of confidence. I needed to do anything, they'd always give me the support, and I knew that I'd have the backing the whole time, and it'd be fine. I'd be able to do anything I wanted.
So, from an early age, what was the family dynamic? Mum and dad together?
Mum and dad together up until very recently, really. Up until literally a couple of years ago. So all I'm 31 now. So all 20, 28, 29 years of my life. Just mum and dad and me in the house in Kirkham, sunny Kirkham.
What was the schooling like? So it's called primary school, high school. Yeah. Any issues through school?
Not really, to be honest. Privileged again. I went to a private school when I was younger, Kirkham, all the way through from primary school to secondary school. Really well supported. I wasn't brilliant at school. Wasn't massively academic. I'd say upper average. Very much average on everything. Jack of all trades, really. Could put my hand to anything I wanted to, but I just never really had any drive at that point. It didn't really interest me academia. Nothing, unless it was technology wise, which I'm massive geek at heart, really. Other than that, it was maths bored me, science bored me, English, yeah. But got through it. Got through primary school, got through high school, decent enough grades at the end of it, and then left after fifth year, or is it year 11, and then went to a Blackpool 6th college. Yeah. Came away out of private education, and I feel it developed me, grounded me a little bit, go into a normal college, which is nice. I that was by choice. Just really liked what they were doing over there. Didn't want to have to put on a suit every day to go to a sixth form. Yeah. Wanted to just take a step back a bit.
So leaving school, high school, what did you want to do?
At that point, I wanted to be a graphic designer. Yeah. So really, it was I'd done art and design photography at high school. Really fell in love with photography, design. I wasn't very good at drawing. Didn't have a hand. I couldn't do anything with a pencil. But goes back to the sort of technology side of things. I loved doing stuff digitally like Photoshop or like Illustrator and stuff like that. Really, really like got behind that. Did photography, GCSEs, did really well. Loved being behind a camera, went traveled to some nice places to take pictures. And then studied that at A-level.
At college? At Blackpool College,
yeah,
right?
yeah, Blackpool College. Did art and design photography. Also, but also at the same time, there was a bit of me that like still wanted to be academic. So I ended up doing maths and electronics and computing at the same time.
No.
Don't know why I did maths. Bad idea.
Because you already said you didn't like it.
I didn't like it. I just had a little bit of pressure from my dad, who wanted me to be an engineer. So I was like, oh, I'll try it. I'll take it on a bit further. But I knew it deep down it was going to have to be art and design.
What did you do? So you did your photography course at Blackpool College. How long was that?
It was 2 years. So it was like AS level and then A level. So yeah, Blackpool 6. Did really well. Really enjoyed it. Took both years, came out with decent grades there. I dropped the maths after the first year and just did electronics, computing and art and design in the second year. Came out with like average grades, good enough to get me into university, to which I studied graphic design at uni.
So still wanting to be a graphic designer even after the 2 years at college, right?
Still was good. At that point, heading in the direction of graphic designer. Did that for 1 year at university, and just sort of dawned on me that like I wasn't enjoying being taught. I think like uni was like a bit of a weird one for me. I didn't go into halls. I was like I went to Chester Uni and had like a little apartment. So it's like a little bit like unusual student life. Like got a job in the first year as a bartender while I was there just to pay for it all, and then studied graphic design. But most of the time I was like, I quite enjoyed working behind the bar. So like uni sort of suffered in that respect. Like I was going like less and less, and like I just wasn't finding it entertaining. And I was enjoying working though, like really enjoying like just getting money in. Just like bar work was fun. It was like, and it's probably where like a little bit more like hospitality sides come into it, because I just enjoyed trying to talk to people. Like it was Chester's quite a funny town. Like it's usually quite quiet, like studenty, but then they have races on, like horse racing. So like a weekend, like Chester really comes alive. You get so many people coming in for the races, and it's like very like intense weekends, but lots of fun, like lots of late nights and lots of good tips and just chatting to people.
When that switch happened, when you said, I'm not sure that I want to do this now, what was going on then? Because you enjoyed the bar work, you didn't enjoy the learning so much. I
tended to do a lot of like design work, like freelance at that point. That's where I started like picking up like odd jobs here and there. This was about like 12 years ago now. And I was like quite big on like back Twitter back in the day. There was quite a big design community back then. So there's a couple of other sites, like one called Dribble, and where you could like talk to other designers. Like there was a really big community back then. And you'd find like work through then. So I got like quite a lot of like freelance work. And that's when I was thinking like, I'm doing this bar work, I'm getting some freelance stuff. Like, do I really need to be taught like graphic design by someone who's got taught?
Yeah, like someone's already paying you to do it.
Paying me to do it, yeah. And like, and I was like, sat there thinking like, some of the stuff they were teaching you was like just old fashioned, and it's like some of the techniques they were using. I'm thinking like, this is not cool. Like I can do better than this. Like my own like creativity was just wanting to just get out there a little bit more.
So what was the freelance work doing?
Just bits and bobs. I did a few websites for people. A couple of people wanted some like logos and things. I did an entire labeling for this jam company. This like very like low key, like but like independent like jams company, like preserves and things, like a bit of a deli. And they wanted an entire label range making, and it was a bit like back in the day. Like it was like 2011, 2012, and it was like Great Gatsby. So it was like cool, like Art Deco sort of style. It was really nice packaging. Like lots of gold leaf on it. Like it was nice. That was probably the biggest bit of work I did.
How did you put yourself out there then? Because it's like you're not qualified in graphic design as such yet. I know you're doing a bit. How do you start getting that freelance work?
So like this Dribble site I mentioned was a bit like a portfolio. So it allowed you to sort of like put on like bits and bobs of what you were working on. So if I did something that I was proud of, I'd stick it on this. A bit like Instagram is like, or was at one point, where you'd be putting on some like a picture that you really liked. Like Dribble was a bit like a showcase of your work. You could put on some work in progress or something that was done, and that was like your little portfolio of like stuff that you'd done. So I was quite active on there. Put quite a few things on there, and mainly just word of mouth. Some other designers and local people, this guy's done this for me. He's done a good job. Like, he's really creative. I very enjoyed the website side of things because I could, back in the day, like code a little bit and put something together.
You did your year. Did you drop out after that?
I did.
Right.
Yeah.
What came back to Preston?
No, I went to I got to the end of the first year at Chester Uni, went to go and hand in my first like year's assignments. I remember the like lecturer being like, "Who's this guy?" I genuinely like, heard him chatting to another like tutor being like, "I've never seen this guy before." My attendance had got that bad by the end of like the first year of university. It wasn't good. Managed to somehow pass that first year, but I didn't return. I dropped out of that year, and I actually moved down to London and had some time down there picking up some freelance work. I lived in the centre of London for about 6 or so months. Really like put myself into like the community that I'd like been friends with online, like this dribble community, and did quite a bit for some like YouTube as well. Some like thumbnails and things like that, putting some artwork together. Managed to like get into the YouTube space a few times, and it was good. It was a nice life out there, but London was a lonely place. It was quite a big transition from being uni in Chester or back in Preston, and then heading down to London was like quite a shock. I knew lots of people down there, but like to get across the centre of London, sometimes it could be like 40 minutes or so. And it's almost like you're travelling to Manchester just to meet some mates for a couple of hours in the evening. So that was difficult, but...
When was the move back? So 6 months?
About 6 months after that, yeah. Moved back to Preston, had a bit of a reset. Yeah. Then sort of reined it all in a little bit. It was a bit different. I sort of stopped a lot of the freelance work at that point. Moved back home with my parents for a little while. We went on a big holiday, a family holiday. I think I was 20 at that point, 21 maybe. And then found a normal job.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, when you got back from the holiday.
Yeah.
And what was that doing?
I worked in a shoe shop, so it's called Shoe.
Oh, right, okay.
Uh-huh.
In Preston?
It was in Warrington back in the
right,
so
okay.
I was commuting a little bit, but it was nice, like, again, sort of going back to that retail, like, hospitality side of things, just talking to people. Still did the odd little bits and bobs, like, design work, but then just did this full-time for quite a while.
How long was that for?
Maybe about 2 or 3 years.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, and it was nice. I enjoyed that. It was good time. Allowed me to really like develop myself a little bit and be able to have the ability to just talk to people. I was a bit like shy after coming out of like from London. Just it felt like a lonely place. So like being in somewhere where you're talking to hundreds of people a day was fantastic. Again.
So what was that doing in the shop?
Oh, all sorts. I had like lots of stockroom stuff. Like I became like up to the point where it was almost like acting team, like store manager at some stage, like teaching to the training to be like store manager side. So it was like a lot of sales, like just stockroom stuff, like day to day.
Why did you leave? Because you said you really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it. I get a bit fidgety. Yeah, there's probably a pattern here. I get to a point where I'm like, if I've got to a point where I can't progress, I really struggle. I like to see like a lot of like a route onwards. Like I like to see progression. I like to be moving in an upwards direction. At that point, I sort of got to the point where I was in shoe, where unless I went for like a store manager and they were like few and far between, then I was stuck where it was. And I just don't. Personally, I struggle being in a position where I'm stuck where I am, day in, day out. It gets me down a little bit.
Looking for the next step.
Yeah, it's like I want to be fulfilled, and I get fulfilled in like learning, like a big sponge, really, learning lots of different things and just moving upwards. So another curveball. I went and worked for Carphone Warehouse and high level complaints team.
Wow, they're completely different.
Completely different. Like,
so how do you make that switch from being in a shoe shop to then being over the phone?
Yeah.
How's that work?
I saw the job come up and it was in like Tulketh Mill in Preston. Saw the job come up and I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. Like, was feeling unfulfilled in the shoe shop. I'll take the plunge. Applied for it, did a couple of interviews, got the position. And that was a huge learning curve because people were shouting at you. Like, you don't get that in a shop. Like, people are like buzzing to buy a pair of shoes from you in a shop. Like, it's a positive experience for like every time pretty much. Like, you're telling people how good they look with their shoes on, like selling them something, like everyone's in a good mood. Whereas like now I'm like, okay, you've had a really bad time. How can we make that better? And that was the side of things, which was actually like, it made the job really good because it's like, okay, you've had a bad experience here. We understand, like, you had a very bad experience. This is how we can understand your complaint, and we can actually, the team I was in was really good. It wasn't like your normal customer services where you sort of get fobbed off a little bit. This team was like, been there, like, it was like the highest level of like escalation within this like company. So you really had the ability to do what you wanted. As long as you could justify like why you were doing something. If you needed to give someone a phone, you could do. Like, they were quite happy to do that. If you could say the reasons why. Which is great. So you really could like make someone's day. If someone had a really bad time, you could really like say like make them feel better about the company again, which is what they wanted.
What sort of complaints were you hearing though?
All sorts. All sorts of stuff. Quite like, it goes from like sort of thing from like mis-selling, which you get occasionally. Like, there's a lot more regulation on it, I believe now. But back, like, this was quite a few years ago, where you'd get like people like selling to grandmas and things, and they don't know what they're buying. So like their then son or daughter might be calling up saying like, parents been missold this. They don't really know what they're getting, and you could tell. Like, you'd listen to some of the calls that they'd make, and you'd be like, yeah, this is bad.
Right.
Yeah, so you'd sort it out. Like, and like I said, there's a lot of like because of like you'd taken that information, you'd understand that they've had that bad time, and you'd actually feed back on, and they'd actually do something about it. They'd put in like procedures and processes. It wasn't just an empty complaint. They'd try and sort it out, or they'd give that person that missold them a bit more learning and things like that. So it was good. It was like very rewarding.
How long did you do that for?
A couple of years. Yeah. Another pattern here. A couple of years. And that was nice up until I went to go and be an events manager. Yeah.
So how's that come about? Because again, we're going from one thing to another, and they're all completely different.
All completely different. And I think I like see stuff. I'm like, oh, I really like the sound of that. Like, I can see myself doing that. And this is probably like where I've like really just tried to find out what I really enjoy doing the most. This was veterinary events. We were going to like dog shows every week.
Wow.
Like, there's a little bit of a like a similarity where this was they had like it's like a nutraceutical, so it was a bit like a joint supplements and things like that for dogs, cats. But this was one that was like direct to consumer almost. So I'd be at a dog show every week, just getting to cuddle dogs. Still like in a sales environment, still in like a very positive customers, like talking to them.
We're going to say that the pattern seems to be here, dealing with people. That's the pattern, isn't it?
Yeah. So there is a link. It might seem a little bit all over the place, but there's always that dealing with people. And I was up there up until COVID. COVID came. And they didn't need an events manager. There wasn't going to be any events for a while. So I got made redundant at that point. This was it was literally the day when they had brought like furloughs in. Yeah. But they didn't want to furlough me at the time. Unfortunate, but it is what it is.
So then what? Because it's at a time where, how do you get a job around that time? You know.
Luckily, I got a job in somewhere where they always need people. I work for the police.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, in the control room.
Right, okay.
Loved that. On
the emergency call?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was on the, so still dealing with people. And I think I got that a lot from the experience with like Carphone, dealing with complaints, dealing with like some high level sensitive stuff. Like, I could relate that a lot to what I was doing at the police. Really fell on my feet with that role. It was great.
High pressure,
yeah.
How did you find that switch from being an events manager with, setting up events with dogs. You know, like you have no idea what's going to happen when
Absolutely.
the phone rings.
Yeah.
How do you make that switch?
I don't want to say it was like I sort of had to, but in a way I did at that point. I was like, I really needed a job. Like police was like, it was so stable. Really good, like, and it was good, like, place to go and work. It was nice, like a bit of structure back in your life again. But I guess it's similar to like when you were picking up the phone at Carphone, you never knew what complaint you were going to get sometimes. Like it had been escalated to you. So it was very similar to that. Obviously, a lot more horrific things. There was all sorts of things. Like you can't go into how much stuff you'd like to deal with. But it was good. That was really rewarding at the same time because you could, at that point, you were like, you could have a lot of visibility on like you seeing officers go to these jobs and you knew that they were getting help. And it was positive.
How do you get that job? Where do you see that advertised?
I saw it at the time. One of my ex-partners used to work for them. Oh. And at the time, so she was like, the job's available, like the hiring now, like come and work, apply. I think you'd be really good at it.
What was the training like?
Tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like a 10-week course.
10 weeks?
10 weeks, yeah.
Wow.
10 weeks of like, basically trying to like take you through any possible like situation you could go through.
Yeah, I mean, there's that many
they couldn't cover
scenarios.
half of it, yeah. You're going from like mental health issues to, murders, all sorts of things.
Wow.
And what like they like had like a big bank of calls, and you'd like listen to a few and some like horrific stuff. But there was like a lot of it was like stuff on like their software they use in the control room and like how to operate that, and like a lot of like as well like on like laws, and like you need to know about what was actually right and like what you could and couldn't do, because law's a bit of a funny thing in the UK. Like you wouldn't believe some of the stuff which is a crime and which isn't a crime. Right. Yeah, and how they see like the severity of like, and how they make a judgment of that's a severe thing. That's like not so severe, or that can be dealt with like immediately, or can be dealt with in a few days' time. Despite it being quite emotionally impactful, it's not emergency right now, but they can get around to it.
Yeah. And is it you that's got to make that judgment as well?
Yeah, it's all on the call taker.
Wow.
At the time, like the immediate call comes in, you basically listen to the caller on the other end of the line, and you, the person that's making the call, on what response it gets immediately. It within like a bit of criteria. There's like 5 different gradings of a job between like emergency and like telephone resolution and things like that. And so there's a criteria, but like you, depending on like if there's like a crime in progress, you get an emergency response. Yeah, but it's.
Do you have like a thing to go off? Is there a certain set of questions as such, or
no scripts in the police? Ambulance have scripts.
Yeah, of course, right.
But no scripts in police. It's all ad hoc. You want to be really nosy as much as you. It's a good opportunity to just delve into somebody, and you want to get as much information as you can, like possibly can, about everything and everyone, all within like the tiniest amount of time. Depending on how severe it is, you can spend an hour on a call with somebody if you need to, but obviously if someone's screaming at you, then you gotta be quick.
So what kind of calls do you have to deal with? Like, you know, I know every day is going to be different, isn't it? But are there calls that stick with you when you've done that job? Yeah,
there's a couple that you really like. People are really vulnerable with you. Like there's a few instances of like sexual assaults and things like that, which are really like horrific things. Like a lot of things where like they come as that you wouldn't think come to police, but like injuries to children, like potentially like child deaths, where it's been like accidental, but then it's coming to the police first. Like ambulance will pass that to the police in case there's any sort of like potential wrongdoings. And sometimes like I was the first port of call to get in an incident of like a potential like, a child that's been really like potentially going to pass away. So it is horrific, and at the time you're just trying to like hold it together, just take it all in before then you take the call in and then pass it to a dispatcher. So you grade that, and then the dispatchers decide if the rate grading's right, and then assign an officer to that job.
What's the support like?
Oh, great!
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a question I always ask that because I know it's like, you know, with somebody in a job where, you know, the worst things can happen.
Yeah.
I always ask, what's the support like from the police in that moment?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely fantastic. You've got there's all split into teams, and each team of about 20 people. There's 2 like supervisors on that team, and they're always like, there's one that's a supervisor that's assigned to like dispatch, and one that's assigned to like call takers. So one that's looking at the dispatchers like list of jobs, and one that's looking at calls coming in. Check just a bit of like an eyes on, checking that they're grading it right, they're taking all that information right. They might write on the log like, can we get some more information on this? They like might drop into your call to make sure like you're asking the right questions.
And that's coming up as you're on the phone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So you're typing live on the phone into like, it's called a log. So you're typing live, and they might be like, have eyes on your log, and just, if it's something really severe that's coming in, like a potential like, I don't know, a knife or a stabbing or something like that, like they'll be wanting to, like, if you've not asked a question and they think you need to ask that question, they'll type it on like, can we ask this? Can we ask that? But it's high pressure for them as well, because they've got, I don't know, 10 people that are also on their team that are taking calls. It's trying to juggle it all.
What sort of region is that in? Like how far of an area do you cover?
So I work for Lancs, so that's, but I was specifically south. So it's pretty split up into 33 divisions. You've got west, which is like Blackpool, filed up to Lancaster. You've got south, which was what I was on, which was Preston, all the way down to Skem, Ormskirk, Burscough that way. And then you've got east, which is like Blackburn, Darwin, all the way up to Colne. So I was dealing with
a big area.
Big areas, yeah. So I was Preston Centre all the way down to basically borderline Liverpool down, yeah. Big area.
How much is the phone ringing on a busy day?
On a Saturday, constant.
Is it?
Yeah. Saturday, we always said it was like full moon. Full moon people go mad. Yeah, if it's like a 999 call, like an emergency call, like we've got bells on, and sometimes like bells could be ringing.
What if there's not enough of you to answer the phone?
There's the way the system works, like the telephony system, like 999 calls, emergency calls get priority through. So they will always get answered within, I think they're like, it's within like 8 seconds or something like that. So it's quick. You're getting a response pretty fast. Unless it's something like New Year's Eve, then they meet it. They do a really good job. But then like non-emergency calls, like 101s do sort of suffer a little bit. And if it's a busy night, where they try and like direct you to report, if it's non-emergency, like reporting it online or ringing us back at a time where it's not, it's not.
So even
time.
101s go to you as well? Go to the same, right? I didn't know that. I thought that it would just be a group of 999 calls and 101s like completely separate.
No. So they all go through to the same call takers, and 9s just get priority. So they'll be dealing with 101 calls, and then if a 9 comes in, they'll jump ahead of them all. If it's not a 9, if it's not an emergency, like some people try and get through.
This is my next question.
Then, if it's really like non-severe, they will be asked to ring back on an emergency number. If it's like, I don't know, cat stuck by a tree or something. Yeah.
And how often do you see that?
Oh, regularly.
Really?
People know the tricks to try and get past.
Do you get regular people ringing up, people you recognise?
Yeah, like high intensity users, like, but sometimes it's like, it's not always like, you get regulars that are like regular, like, I don't know, it's like criminals or something like that, but like regular people that have like a bit of like beef, or they like get themselves into bother, or it's not their fault. We also get like regular, like a lot of mental health. You wouldn't believe how much like police deal with in the mental health capacity, even though it should be pushed to like ambulance and the health service. Like a lot of it comes to the police way. Yeah. So you're trying to like, sometimes you're talking someone down off a building, like, and it's not really like the police's job at the end of the day. It should be directed to like the health service, who can deal with mental health. But yeah, like sometimes you just got to deal with it if they're on the end of the phone.
Is that in the training?
Yeah,
that one is.
Yeah. So you get some techniques of how to deal with it, and like how you. But there's always like, if you get a really bad call, there's like a couple of buttons you can press on the phone, like alert a supervisor, and they'll be able to give you support, or you'll get support from the room. Like I said, like the support there is fantastic. You get if you get a bad call and you come at the end of it, like somebody will be over to check you're all right. If you might need half an hour off the phone, or for example, even if you need to go home, like people understand. You deal with some horrific stuff.
Did you ever take it on with you?
I never did. I was very good at switching off. I don't know if that's to them like the goes along the lines of like the laid back attitude, like, a little bit. Like I was on it when I was in the room. Like you sort, but then once I'd left, you sort of try and forget about jobs a little bit. Some people really struggled with it. Don't get me wrong. You get home and if you've had like a adrenaline pumping night, you'd sat up at midnight. Like back when I was there, it was like 6 on 4 off, and you did like 2 early shifts, 2 late shifts, and 2 night shifts. So your late shifts were finishing at like midnight, and sometimes you'd be going home and you'd be up at like 2, thinking just you're just like full of energy still.
Did he have the same amount of people on every day, or like these weekends they have more on?
No, same people every day.
Right.
Yeah, it's because they've got 4 different teams, and those teams just follow each other depending on the shift pattern. So same people every day.
So how long do you do that for?
I was there for, I think it was like 2 to 3 days. I think it was just under 3.
Yeah.
I've progressed from being a call taker to there's a couple of different roles. So call taker and then dispatcher. So dispatchers will take the jobs off the call takers, and they will have a big list of jobs and then assign a police officer to the jobs. So it's all in the control room. Like there's a lot of pressure, and you get a lot of responsibility. So I'll have, like, when I was a dispatcher, I had a list of incidents, for example, in Preston, centre of Preston, and like they could be all graded exactly the same, and I would then have to look through those logs, read what any sort of risk was in the log, and how risky that was compared to another job, and then make a call on who gets seen first. Wow. It's also very subjective, but yeah, it's tough.
I didn't expect for you to have to make that decision. Yeah. I thought it'd be like you take the information, send it to the police, and then they make the decision. Yeah. I know it is the police, isn't it? But yeah, that's weird, isn't it?
So it's were you sort of expecting like officers would make a call and who they say no?
Yeah,
so
and say right, no, yeah, we need to go there, and like, you're just passing information. So for you to make that decision is, wow.
So don't get me wrong. So like it sits like, so there's the dispatchers, and then they'll have the dispatch supervisor. So they'll have eyes on what you're doing as well. But you have got a lot of autonomy and a lot of authority, and like sergeants in the actual police will also be looking through the screens. But it very much sits on the dispatchers to go, okay, so that job's is a little bit more risky than that one. I've got an officer here. Can you go and deal with that one first? The officers are sort of at your disposal. They get told what jobs they're going to. Yeah. I went from there, dispatch, and then a job came up which was a data analyst.
We're going to completely different again.
I told you it was a wild ride. I didn't do this for long though. This was towards the end of my time at the police. I came off the dispatching, went to be a bit of an analyst. Wasn't for me. Really? I was good at like spreadsheets, really good at numbers in sort of that sense. Geeky, like I say, like very good at a spreadsheet. But I did that for probably I was there maybe like 3 months doing that role. It was a bit of a seconded role, so came out of the dispatcher, was doing an analyst role for the control room. So it was looking at how we could be better at performance, how we could answer phones faster, how we could benefit the public really, and what we can do to get statistics better. That was good, but just a little bit boring. It went from exciting like shift work where you're dealing with a lot of like incidents and crime to sitting behind a spreadsheet 9 to 5.
So then what?
The events role came to me. The one that I got made redundant from.
Oh yeah.
The dog company, veterinary company, and one of them reached out to me and said, "We've got a role available again, very similar to what you were doing, but it's going to be international. So would you consider coming back?" So when it was going through a bit of a tough time at that point, I came out of a very long-term relationship, and I thought this could be great. Getting to travel the world. Had a chat with them and ended up moving to them.
And where were they located?
The company's based in Lytham. So they one of the largest like nutraceutical companies. And they deal directly through the vet, so it's not. The role wasn't direct to consumer like the dog one. The dog show one was. They had a couple of different brands. So this was working for more of like a premium brand that they had, and it involved using like it was mainly like veterinary trade shows. So a bit like you'd go to like I don't know, like a convention at the NEC, but it was like veterinary ones. So it was more like how the nutraceutical companies sold to vet practices and vet companies and vet firms, but around the world. Cracking job.
Yeah.
I was in a different country every single week.
Wow.
Yeah, for quite a while.
What, literally all over the world?
Yeah. I had there was a couple of periods where it was like I was back in the UK for like a month here, a month there, but once it was like show season, they tend to not have anything there summer because people are on holidays and like Christmas time. So summer and Christmas was like a time when I was back in the UK. But when show season was on, it was honestly back to back. Once a week I was in Memphis in Tennessee, went to Munich, Mumbai, Kuala Lumpur, like some mega countries.
All these places having veterinary events.
Yeah, and it's just like trade shows, so they all have like specific trade shows in their own country, and like these would want they're quite very premium brands, so they'd have this massive stand, and my job at that time was to make sure that stand got built right. We were putting in a good show, making sure like all the brand guidelines were met and staffing was right, things like that in the country.
So you're not actually on the stand as such?
Very rarely I was on the stand. If there was a country where like they spoke good English, I don't speak any other languages. I'm not very good at all. I could try, but if they spoke good English, I'd tend to be like asked to go on the stand, and as more of like just a bit of help. I could guide people to the people who were very technical in terms of like the vets that we had on the stand as well. But if it was a country where there was zero like English speaking people, I just got to be in the country. It was great.
What was the company actually selling?
Nutraceuticals. So it's not a pharmaceutical, so it's not like a medicine, but it's a bit like a supplement. So the biggest one was a joint supplement. It's like the largest joint supplement for dogs and cats in the world really. That was their biggest, like their number one product. But they have also other things that treat like liver disease, like say treat, it helps. I don't think they can say treat, but like kidney problems and things like that. Like, and they want to sell directly to the vets, and who then prescribe it or sell it to the customers.
How surprised was you when you were working for the police and you got that phone call?
It was a mate. He just messaged me on like Instagram, or it might have been just an email at the time. I was surprised, but it sort of came at the right point. I mentioned like came out of this 8-year-long relationship. I was like, I can't be sat behind a screen looking at spreadsheets all day, dealing with quite like negative things. Like at that point, like statistics in the room for like weren't great. So you're always reporting on like, we could always do better. So I was thinking this is like a golden opportunity here. It's jumped on my lap really. And I think within like 2 weeks I was working for them.
Wow.
Yeah. Went to Barcelona for my first one. I went to Barcelona for the day.
Just for one day? So you fly there, set up?
I came home. It was,
wow.
It wasn't always like that. Most of the time I was there for like 5 days.
Right.
That was just the first one I did. And got to see some like cracking places. Set up, make sure the show was right. The shows are usually about 2 days, the events, and most of the time like I took my days off at that point, so I was just in a country I do a lot of running, so I did a lot of running in these countries, a couple of half marathons around like random cities. It's a good way to see a city. Where's
your favourite place you've travelled?
Without a doubt, India.
Really?
India was mega.
Really?
Like I'd been there in the past as like just a tourist anyway, but it was a good few years ago. So going there for work, I was sort of knew what to expect. India's like wild, like it's so busy, a lot going on, but everyone always seems to keep it under control. Probably a bit like me. A little bit chaotic, but always under control, very laid back, very India. India is like, everyone's always like, oh, we'll get around to it at some point, or stuff it'll happen. I remember that was probably the toughest one I had, to be honest, because I had to organise the build for this event quite far in advance. The Indian team over there that we were having to build the stand assured me it was going to be like super premium. It was going to look spotless. Sent some pictures over like of what the vibe we wanted to go for. Couldn't have emphasized it more how premium this had to be. And I got there and it wasn't. So we had to like almost rip the whole thing out within like an evening. The team worked through the night to get this show on the road to a state where we were happy to go ahead. Mega though.
When you say setting up,
yeah,
do you have like a stage?
Almost a stage. The space we get is usually quite big. It was usually about 9 meters by 6 meters, so it's quite a big plot. Usually, like one of the biggest. Usually the biggest at the events. Like we usually have the biggest presence up there with like the lines of like you got to dog yourself, like Royal Canin, Pedigree, like some big names there, and we'd always have like a space that was matched them, and you want it to be as extravagant as them. So yeah,
big company.
A lot of responsibility, and the owner of the company's got a really high attention to detail, and me on speed dial when it didn't always look the best.
So travelling around, living your best life.
Living my best life, back and forward from Manchester Airport every week.
When did that stop?
It stopped when a friend of mine, he owns basically imports like food and drink from around the world and then ships it to consumers across the UK. A lot of things like American food, American sweets, cereals, groceries, like imports it all and then distributes it direct to consumers. He owns this company and he was like, he hit me up on a couple of years again into this role. And he was like, I'd love to come into the company and project manage for me.
So similar to what you were doing already, but just for a different style of company.
Yeah, so it went from like events management to e-commerce project management. A lot of like translatable skills, in a sense. He was badgering me for quite a while because I was having a great time. I was missing home life a little bit. It's hard to like develop relationships. It's hard to develop friendships when you're away all the time. You'd always have like fleeting visits, or you'd be on like the phone to somebody within like a 8-hour time difference. It's hard. And I think I needed that at the point when I went to go and travel. And then a few years in, I was like, okay, I'm tired. It's taking its toll. The itch. Yeah, scratch the itch, saw a lot of the world. And then he came in there, a bit of like a golden ticket, a bit like the other person did. Come and work for me, come and project manage for me. Took the plunge, did that. Only was there 6 months though. So
not the 2 years.
Broke the mold a little bit, and I think he sold me a promise that just wasn't there. Oh. He 6 months down the line, he made me redundant with a week's notice. Yeah, and just said he couldn't afford the position I was in. It's a bit of a bummer, really.
Did you regret leaving?
Yeah,
your job at that point?
Yeah, massively, because it was great. It was really well paid. I had like expenses abroad. It was great. It was a no-brainer. But I was doing it for a mate. Not much of a mate now. But so yeah, a second redundancy in my time that came again. Real like blow this one though, because it was so COVID was, you could understand it. This one was like you'd risked a lot, done a lot, and done it for a mate, and then yeah, gone again.
Was there no chance of going back?
To the events one,
yeah.
The role had been filled. Somebody else was in that position. It got filled pretty quick. It was a good role.
Yeah. It's not going to be hanging around.
No. Yeah, when someone says, "Oh, you can go and see the world," and at somebody else's expense, you jump on that.
And we'll pay you for it. So what was your plan then?
I didn't have one really. I was luckily I'd still had quite a bit saved up from the events job because I wasn't in the UK a lot, and I didn't have much expenses I have a house in Kirkham, so that was paid for. I managed to save up quite a bit, so I wasn't in like a horrendous position where I had to jump on anything. But obviously, we needed to get in a role. So I was looking for jobs really, like for project management jobs, things like that. And I happened to, I'm a big like runner, big cyclist, and I was cycling around. I think I went around Leyland. I did it was a big ride, and I stopped off at Holy Grounds. They've got a shop in Leyland, big shop in Preston, cafe in Preston, and weirdly, the owner of Holy Grounds was in the Leyland store at the time when I stopped in for a donut halfway around my 100k ride or whatever. Which apparently, like now I've chatted to him now, it never happens. He doesn't work in the store. If somebody called in sick that day and he didn't want to shut Leyland and just happened to go and do a shift there, I just got chatting to him. I said like what I was doing, what I'd done in the past for this other company. Just really hit it off. I was there, maybe chatting for maybe about half an hour. Turns out he sort of wanted someone to come in for a little bit of a project side of role. But he just hired somebody to do like ops management, so didn't really have a position for me. So he brought me in for a little while just to do an ad hoc task of a bit like freelance work. We developed like the website for them. They hadn't had any real online presence besides Instagram. So coming back to my roots a little bit with like web development, some web design on there, built an entire like web platform where they could have like the menu on there, like opening times, just a nice like base for Holy Grounds. It was also e-commerce based, so like what I'd done in the distribution company, built it all on Shopify. It was great, so they could order merch, people like and coffee beans and things from there, and made that for them. It was coming to like sort of like a finishing their project, and they were opening a van in Chorley. It was like a mobile coffee van, and I was always massively into my coffee, like very much a coffee geek all throughout my life, really. Loved it. Couldn't get enough of like a good brew. And it was just one day we were chatting. He was like, do you want to own it? Like, would you like to be part of the company? Like, I don't really want to I can't hire you as a person right now to do ops management stuff, but you've clearly got a bit of like entrepreneurial spirit here. Like, do you want a part of this? So I ended up buying this van, this coffee van.
Wow.
In Chorley. It did like coffee and donuts outside the back of a pink tuktuk.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. That was mine. And that's where we're sort of like going down the lines of now. Like I did that for around 10 months.
And you was actually on the van.
I was on the van.
Right.
I worked it.
Wow.
I thought like first real time I had my own business, and so I was managing it. Had to manage like stock, ordering, accounts, things like that, and it was all with like Holy Ground support. It was a little bit like a franchise, but just not as cold as a franchise is. So they had a lot of like support to me, and worked with them to run it as Holy Grounds really. But
seems like fate, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like you go into a coffee shop, bump into the owner who's not normally there.
It was wild. Yeah, like you couldn't have made it up. Like it's one of those like things, these like little golden moments just seem to sort of happening. These like opportunities.
So you had the van for 10 months.
Quite a while, yeah, 10 months. I just got the taste of wanting to be inside, wanting a physical location. Like Holy Grounds make incredible coffee. They've got it's specialty grade, but they have like a house bean and that's it really. Like they use like this one coffee all the time, and I was just intrigued about other things. Like been a massive fan of like other specialty coffee shops around the UK, and just wanted to have my own sort of brand and personality and be able to change coffees, like move it around, like just mix, experiment, do some like crazy things. And you can't do that in a pink tuktuk, especially under somebody else's brand where they're going through and they've got their own agenda that they're wanting to go down. And it's more like donuts and coffee rather than coffee.
Coffee, yeah, of course.
Donuts are great, but my passion was like coffee.
Yeah.
So just kept my eye out for shops. saw like shops coming up, like retail spaces, and then put my off. Like found this one that was up a bit near like the upper end of Preston, a bit near where Spud Bros is, so Cheapside way, and put in like an offer on that. It didn't work out. It came off the market. They needed some work doing or something like that. But at that point, I'd had my sort of heart set on a location.
Yeah.
There was this other location which was there, which was a little bit more money than what I wanted to spend money on, but it was in one of the nicest streets in Preston, and just took the plunge. I thought, if it's a nicer place, gonna get footfall, it's gonna work. And got accepted. Landlord took me took a long time, a good few months, but landlord took a shine to me, and yeah, seemed to work out. That's sort of where we are now.
So what was the discussion with your van? How did you end up leaving the van and the shop? Because there's a period in between here, isn't there? What discussion did you have with the owner? Because obviously he's been like, you hit it off with him straight away.
Yeah. It's not that he didn't see it coming, but he knew. I think he said to me at the time that he knew he wasn't gonna. I wasn't gonna be at Holy Grounds forever. He knew that it wasn't like my destiny. He knew that I sort of wanted to do my own thing, and that trying to be a bit more like creative and entrepreneurial was like where I was going to be. It was very good. Sort of advised what I wanted to do, and we decided that we'll put the van up for sale. And luckily, like, it was all up until, like, I didn't think it was going to happen, but all up until the last minute, and somebody finally bought it and is now running it themselves, which is great. They've really, so it's nice to still see it there. Originally, it was going to head off. Somebody was going to debrand it all and go and run it somewhere else as another coffee van. But I'm glad somebody came. I wanted it to stay in Chorley, really. Chorley got a really good customer base. Like, people loved it there. It brought a smile on people's faces. Like,
I think that Holy Grounds is really popular anyway.
Yeah,
it speaks to a lot of people, and we go to Holy Grounds because he's on like Avon Park.
Yeah,
you can get your coffee in your dorm and you can walk in, and the branding and stuff is really good.
It's fantastic.
It is good.
I'm a massive fan of the brand, and Sam, the owner's done a great job at like pushing that. The whole like attitude is that they want to, and the whole like ethos is they want to have these cool, quirky spots next to parks. People can come get a takeaway coffee, a donut, walk around the park. Very wholesome, nice. It's great. They're doing a good job.
So, onto yours then.
Onto mine.
So, you put an offer in. The landlord took a shine to you.
Yeah. He really made me jump through some hoops, though.
Really?
Yeah, it took a while. He met me like quite a few times. Because I'm this like young guy that's not really had a lot of like business experience back then. And not really a lot of like commercial coffee experience. Like massive, like I said, like a massive coffee nerd. Could do it all by myself at home, but other than Holy Grounds van, never really taken it any further than that. It's a big jump from a little tuk-tuk to a space. But like managed to get some figures together, showed him a bit of a business plan, and he took a chance on me. And yeah, got the space, got us the keys, middle of January this year. Yeah. But at that point was still running the van.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I sort of phased it out a little bit. So came back from December, knew the keys were coming like middle of Jan. And then I took like the winter, a good point to reduce the van's hours down and days down. It used to be 5 days a week, Wednesday to Sunday, so I'd take Monday, Tuesdays off. The winters were brutal. The tuk-tuk doesn't have any cover, so you're putting like a gazebo up, and then there was points where it was about -6, -7, and I had about 6 layers on. But I just didn't want to. I didn't want to have any doubt in anybody's that the van was there or not. If the van was going to be there Wednesday to Sunday and those were my hours, I wanted to be there Wednesday to Sunday during the hours I say. I think the moment you start not opening when you say you're going to be open, people lose faith.
Really good work ethic.
Yeah, and
Really
people just don't want to risk or waste time. Like coming to out, some people will come out the way, and if you're not there, then they're not going to do it again.
Do you know, it's funny, like sometimes you will talk about going places, you know, me and my partner will say, oh, we'll go there at the weekend. It's like, are they open?
Yeah.
I have to have a look whether they're open. So, you know, somebody, you can say, oh, it'll be there.
Yeah.
100% it'll be open, or you'll be there, even in the wind and the snow.
Yeah. And people did see me when it was like, we had some like severe extreme weather warnings, and I was there, some like in thermals, getting battered. There was a point where I came one morning, and before I'd like really had any like huge like drops in temperature, it was like it was that point where it was -6, and the pumps inside the van for the water for the coffee machine had frozen completely. So I had, for I'd say about 4 hours of the morning, I had no coffee. So I was just doing donuts. Yeah. Managed to get a hairdryer to melt the pumps to thaw it out enough to get the water through. Brutal.
What was the traffic like? Like how many people are you seeing there?
A lot.
Generally? Really?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, the donuts are like, you've got the brand. Yeah. People come in for a Holy Grounds donut, and they would get a coffee while you're there. You got your regulars there that would come in just for coffees. Chorley's got a lot of coffee shops. There's a lot of mediocre ones. And like if you're doing a good coffee and you had a good location, people would like go for a walk around the park. They'd come to you and they'd come and support you if you did a good brew. So
when you were setting up on your own, how important was location?
Massive, because I was so wary of whether anyone was going to come. So this like, so I think I said at first I was going to go up the one near a bit less Spud Bros side of town, and I'm so glad I didn't now. I think that was a bit more of it would have been more of a risk because it was a little bit out of town. Like you had to go down a street which you wouldn't walk past it. Whereas the shop now it's on the way to the park. Winkley Square's got so many like businesses on it. Like people are going from there to get lunch, or on the way to work they'll come and commute and walk past you. So the location was a big thing. For foot traffic.
It's a busy area of town, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just for anybody listening, what's the street called, and what's your coffee shop called?
It's on Winkley Street, just off Winkley Square. So Winkley Street is a cobbled street, really, really old. It's in Preston's Heritage Zone, and it links Fishergate, the High Street, to Winkley Square, which has got a little bit of like, it's a beautiful like enclave, beautiful park. And it links those two. The park around Winkley Square is full of lots of solicitors, accountants, a lot of business people, full of offices. And the shop's called Life Lately. Yeah.
Where did the idea for the name come from?
I just, at the time where I came up with it, it was a bit more like, this is where my life is at the minute. Like people had used it on Instagram for quite a few years, and I'd seen people commenting, people like making posts like Life Lately, like a bit of a round, like a recap of their month or a collection of photos. And I thought that's a great name for a coffee shop, that. And it always said like, this is where my life is at the minute. This is what it is. This is what I'm doing. I'm all in on the coffee.
What's your ethos with the coffee? Because you said about not having one grade of coffee, you want to change it. What's your ethos with it?
For the shop as a whole, it's coffee first. That's all I want it to be from the get-go. Was want it to be a coffee first space, and do very, very simple menu and do it well. Quality of coffee was like up there for me. I want it to be the best cup of coffee in Preston, and there's some really good like names in Preston. There's a lot of people that are doing it really well. Big fans of like a lot of the shops there, and still massive customers of them. Like the Preston coffee scene is really good, and they're all customers of each other's shops. Like I get so many other coffee shops that come in mine. I'm in there on my day off. It's nice. But yeah, just wanted to have the best I could possibly get.
So where do you start with deciding what coffee you're going to serve?
Luckily, like as I said, like massive coffee snob at home. So I've buy like coffee for my home machine quite regularly. Like been doing this for years. Also the travel. When I was in the events job, I was going to like coffee shops abroad, like specialty shops. I'd always go to like these independents, some crazy stuff you can see, like a lot, like the Barcelona coffee scene's mad. Lots of places abroad, like London quite a lot, like doing great things down there. So I was taking a lot of inspiration as I was like traveling around. But Mainly just ones that I tried, but I also want it to be a little bit more local. So like my house coffee is by a roaster called All Caps.
Yeah.
They're based a bit near like Cheshire way, and they're Cheshire Oaks.
Yeah.
They do some like crazy stuff. Some like their like profiles they have are really like funky. They really like stretch it of like what coffee can possibly do. Like we had a coffee on from them recently, which was a strawberry co-ferment. So the coffee beans have been fermented in a jar for a big tub for sometimes like 24, 48 hours. And this is with actual like fresh strawberries. So once it's been roasted, and you stick it in a drink with like milk, like a flat white or a cortado, all you're getting is strawberries and cream. It's unbelievable. And I'd liked what they'd done in the past. I was a big fan of like their branding. They're very design led. They do some. It's perfect. All their brand and their like the way they've marketed their like roastery is. I don't know. It hits something inside my brain. It's just like, this is so satisfying. Yeah. And because they do the coffee so well, I was like, it was a bit of a no-brainer, really. I wanted to work with them. As I was building the shop, reached out to quite a lot of like roasters, but like took some samples in from all of them, tried them all, and came up with like a little bit of a grading system, like in terms of like brand, taste, complexity, almost like price. Price comes into it a little bit. And then All Caps came on top. And yeah, went with them as like a house coffee. Yeah. So the house is quite traditional. It's like a very like chocolatey espresso. What people are going to expect. I was originally going to go really wild and funky until somebody said a term to me that stuck to me. It's like, if you're doing a shop and you want people to come, it needs to be able to suit a coffee fan, coffee snob, but also something you'd be happy serving into your nan. And she's not going to go for something that's wild and funky. She wants something that's just going to go in a latte and going to taste nice. So we went for a bit more normal, but it's good normal.
I had a flat white when we came,
yeah,
and I was really impressed with how nice it was. And I'm not a coffee snob as such, but I do like my coffee.
Appreciate a good coffee.
Yeah, I really like a good coffee, and yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I did. What's your plan with the specialty coffee?
So we have a guest coffee on at all times. So we've got two options. So we've got the house coffee, specialty grade, like fantastic coffee. But then we've got a guest. So the house, like I said, is very like traditional, safe in a way. It can work in anything. You can work in a cortado. Someone's going to be happy getting it in a cortado, but also someone's going to be happy getting it in a vanilla ice latte. It works. The guest coffees we have on, I tend to go a bit funkier, a bit wild, like the strawberry one. So we had that on guest recently. I've got one that I've just put on today. It's by a roastery called Dark Arts down in Hackney. They do some wild stuff as well. And that's got only one tasting note. Usually you got like a few. This one's just jelly babies. So it's massive sweetness, like fruity, candy-like. And that's just coming on today. It's going to really work well in a smaller drink. It's like a long black, cortado, flat white. It's going to pop.
And will you sell it as just in what you think it would taste nice in, or would you sell it in, like, if somebody wanted it in something where you think maybe it won't work as well?
I'm quite honest. So like, if someone's ordering a flat white, I say like flat white and below, in terms of like milliliters of like coffee or ounces of coffee, you'll taste it in that because it doesn't get diluted so much. So if somebody orders a flat white, I'll always say, or cortado, espresso, smaller drinks, I'll always say, do you want to try our guest? Like, I'll give them like a rundown of what it is. They can judge somebody's character quite well if they want to try it or not. If somebody orders like an iced latte with a syrup in and asks for the guest, I'll be honest and say, genuinely, you're wasting your money. I'll be like, I don't feel like they should pay for something that they're not going to taste. Yeah. And I think people quite appreciate that. Because I've got a little like menu card that lists the coffees we have, and sometimes it's quite attractive to them. They think they're going to get jelly baby coffee in there, and it's going to make their vanilla ice latte taste fantastic. And it's probably going to taste just like any other vanilla ice latte because it's just not. It's going to get overpowered. And I think they appreciated saying like, cool that you want to try that. It's probably going to not taste like you expect it to taste. You're going to waste your money. How about you put the house roast in? And they usually take your judgment.
All them years of customer facing roles as
exactly
get to a point of honesty.
I want to manage someone's expectations. I don't want someone to think they're going to get a really poppy jelly baby coffee and they not get that, and then you get negative reviews, or like you get a bad persona of you, like you mis-selling. So I always want to be honest, like put a smile on someone's face. I want someone to be happy with what they're getting, but also want to make sure they know what they're going to be getting from it.
What's a typical day look like for you? Because you say you've got 2 staff now.
2 staff now, yeah. The first 4 weeks of the shop, as in when I opened, I did all 7 days for 4 weeks. It was a slog. I just didn't want to have to. I knew I needed to have staff, and it was a given. Like opening a shop 7 days a week, 7-5 during the weekdays, long hours. But I didn't want to have to hire and fire. Been in that position of being made redundant. Didn't want to have to bring somebody in full time, for example, and have to be like, oh, sorry, I can't afford you. I didn't want to put that on somebody else, so I just took the hit at the start. Big toll, because I didn't have days off to see friends, family. I was tired. It took a big impact, and I think as I mentioned before, like I'm a big runner, run a lot of marathons, like really into like my long distance running, and that took an impact as well. Like building the shop, I was tired after my 7 long shifts in 7 days. I've had to take a step back of that a bit recently, which it was like my thing, but the shop's not my thing. But now typical days is a lot better. It's paying off. The hard work's paid off at the time. So I was in today. I was by myself all day today. Long day, but happy to do it. Usually like we open at 7, so I usually tend to get in about 6:20 in the morning. The night before, either myself or one of my staff members have tidied everything and basically got the shop ready for opening in the morning. I try and get as much done as I can in the evening, so the mornings are a lot easier. But we dial in the coffee every morning, making sure that's coming out to recipe. Taste it, making sure it's tasting good. If you don't try it, you don't know what you're serving.
So you're setting that up every day?
Every day.
Right.
Like machine gets cleaned down in the evenings every single night before. It's a little bit excessive. We fully disassemble like the grinders, clean out everything, just try and make everything as clean and as quality as we can possibly get it. Like I said, it's excessive, but I want everything to last, and like maintenance wise, and also want everything to taste as good as it can do.
This is going back to your customer facing again, isn't it?
I want it to be good. I want someone to get a brew one day and it tastes exactly the same as much as it can another day. Consistency is the key with coffee, really. Like you can put out a good coffee once, but if you can't replicate that for somebody else, they don't know what they're going to get.
So what do you think the biggest misconception is about owning a coffee shop?
It's just coffee. There's you get some people in. It's for them. It's just a brew. People come in just so they can have a coffee. I'm like, there's a lot more to that. But it's just me being a bit of a geek. But those are the people that I actually feel like it's more special to have those customers in. You can get a coffee snob in any day and you can please them. But somebody who's not really into coffee has made the choice to come visit you. And you want to sort of give them a good experience. Like they could go anywhere else. They could go and get a vanilla ice latte from Starbucks, but they've made the choice to go independent and support you. And that could be the step from going to a coffee which is like lots of sugar, lots of sweetness, to slowly like getting them to enjoy coffee a bit more. Because a lot of like the specialty stuff I've got, it's got like a lot of natural sweetness to it, so it does suit a few more people. But yeah, that's probably the biggest misconception. It's just coffee.
What do you think the lowest point in your career is? Because you've had I'm going to ask next, obviously, about the highs of your career.
Yeah,
sounds like you've had loads of highs. Like you've had a really good career. But what's the lowest?
I think the lowest point has been like probably the second redundancy. That was the first one. COVID, understand that, tough time for everybody. Second time was difficult. I'd put a lot of trust into this person I'd come away from a good position. Like I feel like I was doing really well. I had a really good, got on top of a lot of things. I sorted a lot of things out in my life, and then getting that second redundancy was hard. But I mean, I'm a very much glass half full kind of person. Everything happens for a reason. Like if I hadn't been made redundant, wouldn't have cycled, wouldn't have got into this coffee shop, wouldn't have owned a coffee van.
Wouldn't be where you are now, yeah.
Wouldn't be where I am now.
Do you know what? One of the reasons for setting this podcast up and stuff is that I have a fascination about asking people what they do and how they got into the job that they do. And 99 times out of 100, it's an accident. I didn't mean to end up here, but I'm here now, and it fascinates me. And you're just another example of it.
Yeah.
You know, like fate got you there, really, didn't it?
I've jumped through like a lot of different jobs and to find something that I actually really do enjoy. And I think owning your own business and being able to have that creativity aspect of it, which is what I seem to thrive off. Being able to make decisions. Like I don't deal well with like a decision that I don't agree with, that I sort of lose respect a little bit. So being able to like make my own decisions and my own calls and set my own hours, for example, and things like that, it suits me. And something with a passion like I have, as much as coffee does and things like that, it works well.
Doing something you love as well.
Doing something I love, yeah.
You never work a day in your life.
No, exactly, yeah.
Apart from when you're doing 7 days a week.
Yeah. Tough. Didn't look back though. Didn't think at that point like, oh, what have I done? Like it was like I knew like I had to do this to make something work. You had to put the graft in to make it work.
So what's the highest point, the most rewarding part?
Seeing customers come in. That first day I opened the shop, didn't announce it. I think I've mentioned to you, like I've kept the shop quite low key intentionally. Didn't want to be marketing it down people's necks. Didn't want to be doing offers like discounts here and there. Like, I didn't want to cheapen it. I wanted to, like I said, quality product. We do it really well. Customers will come. I opened the shop without saying anything to anyone. I had an Instagram account which I very much kept low key. I did that odd teaser. I didn't even say that it was a coffee shop right until maybe a couple of days before. That I didn't have anything on the shop front. I kept a paper on the window for up until the day I opened. Didn't have a sign on it.
For what reason do you make that decision? You know, because you think like a lot of people will start a business or start something, and want to grow, you know, and do as much as you can. Why make the decision to say, I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to let people come?
Potentially a little bit of like fear of like, not rejection as such, but like of not doing, like almost like bigging up something that's like massive. Like, okay, we're going to have this massive launch. Like if I'd done it that way, this is what I'm opening. It's going to be amazing. And then you see it quite a few times that hundreds of people come and then you can get overwhelmed and they get a bad experience. Like a lot of shops will open with like a big launch day and they'll be rushed. They'll be panicked. There'll be too much to handle. There'll be issues. There'll be things that you don't expect to happen. Whereas I just opened the doors one day and just a couple of people wandered in. Like about more than a couple on the first day. And it allowed me to grow the shop at a pace which was comfortable. Like, and it really has been like comfortable. There's been some like a lot of rush periods, but it gave me a chance to find out any problems without it having a lot of like
big impact on the day.
Yeah. So I could it's almost like contain it to a point where I could guarantee that everyone was having a good time. There was a couple of teething problems. I'd ordered some cups from Portugal. The company was in Belgium, but they were made in Portugal, and there was about a 2.5 month lead time. So I didn't have any large cups for bigger cups for like lattes and things for a while. I used paper cups. Some people don't like paper cups. I'm very aware now people don't like paper cups. They made it clear. But like I did a lot of explaining, like, I'm really sorry, they're on the way. They're here now. They look great. Well worth the wait.
Do you know what your coffee shop is just from like it's just been just over an hour now we've been speaking. It's clear to me that your coffee shop is just, it's all you. Yeah. You know, like it's very, very you. You said you're very laid back. So, well, yeah, I didn't want to, you know, you wanted to slowly grow it, and that's the laid back side. And then
you've obviously been in. It's very minimal.
Yeah. I love it though. I love that. Yeah.
Nothing like it in Preston.
And I thought the cups were really good.
Cups are cool, aren't they?
Yeah, the cups are cool.
Yeah, the cups are great. So I've seen them in a couple of other spaces, seen them online, and I saw them immediately. I'm like, I need to get them in the shop. And they're quite picky who they work with.
Really?
I had to have a call with them and to say what my vibe of the shop was going to be, what type of coffee, what like thing was going to be in their cups, which is really good. Yeah. It's nice. They don't want it in like a space which is going to tarnish their brand as well. Yeah. I know there's like a couple of shops that have wanted them and couldn't have them. Same for location too. Like they don't want them, like a lot of shops close by having those cups.
Well, I've never seen them before. Yeah, I've never seen them before. And when you serve the cup, I thought these are cool. Yeah, I do like these. And I really liked how when you get to the bottom and there's the smiley face on the inside as well. It's good. Yeah, it's
just a nice touch. And there's a couple of little smileys in the shop. Everything's the shop's very intentional. Like everything's been quite created. Like I said, minimal. There's still a work in progress. Don't get me wrong. I need it to open. I need to get some money in. So but not to a point where it'd have any impact on the coffee. So the coffee bar side of things, like that's done. Like I got some really good grinders, got a really good like machine to make a good brew. I could have been making a brew in the building side, but the brew would have been fantastic. Yeah. But there's a few things like I want to get some cushions. I've got some wooden seats at the minute. They're a bit hard. The younger people can get away with it, but it's a bit of a boomer repellent at the minute.
So what type of person do you think it takes to run a coffee shop?
Passion for your product. Passion for your product massively. I think if you can go to some like shops and you can tell that it's a little bit more, they want it to make a profit rather than wanting to make a good product. There's some I've had 11 weeks in now, and I've maybe had about 6 or 7 different guest coffees, and there's a couple that have been like it's not been economical at all. But I really wanted it. I really wanted to get people to experience such a cool coffee and different and wild. And it's probably not made any money on that guest coffee, but it's fun. I really enjoyed it. I liked seeing some people's faces when they like drank this, and it was like they've never drank anything like it. It's like some crazy. We had a coffee with notes of milk bottles. People love that. So I think that shows that the care that's gone into the space. It takes someone who's definitely dedicated. It takes a lot of man hours, a lot of early starts. Luckily, a couple of members of staff I've got now happy doing the early, so I tend to do the closes.
Yeah, you can the lion.
Yeah, even if it's just a couple of hours, getting up at 5 and setting off to the shops hard for me. Yeah.
So what do you do? What does a coffee shop owner do outside of the job? So take all your career out of it all together now. What do you like to? Because you've said running. So
yeah, running's a big part of my life, and I'm slowly. I say slowly. I probably went a bit too, like I had to not stop it entirely, but I had to drop my mileage massively when I was building the shop and the first opening. So I went from doing like 100k weeks down to like 30, 10s, and then I sort of ramped up too quick. So I then went back in it too fast, and I've got a hip injury at the minute. Yeah, so yeah. But my fault. Overuse too fast, didn't go up too slowly. Thought I was superhuman, but I'm just an older man now. Not as young as I used to be. But massively into my running. Big part of me is road racing, getting some decent marathon times. Really enjoyed the longer distance stuff. I'm doing 100k in July.
Flipping heck.
Yeah, all in one go.
Wow. So your hip injury is causing you a bit of a problem at the moment.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can get through that. So I'm taking a bit of rest at the minute, doing a lot of cycling in the gym, sort of Stairmaster, trying to get back to it. But other than that, I'm massive into my live music. Love going to gigs. That's a massive part of my life. There's nothing I really enjoy more than going to a concert. It's just the vibe you get, or festival outside, the atmosphere. I really love live music. Got a lot of plans this year.
What kind of music?
As long as it's good music.
Yeah,
good music. I'll listen to anything. Example, very controversial here. Don't agree with this man with a lot of what he's done, but I'm going to see Kanye West next week. very like, hit and miss character, but trying to separate the artist from the art a little bit. Made some great music in his time. And then the week after, I'm going to see Harry Styles.
Oh,
so
wow,
polar
yeah,
opposite people
yeah.
here. But both make good music, both have good vibes, once in a lifetime opportunities. Yeah.
What advice have you got for somebody who wants to open a coffee shop and has just maybe been a bit reluctant and said, don't know if I want to do that yet, but they really want to do it?
Go and work in one. Yeah, 100%. Try and get a job in one. I kind of wish I'd got, probably the only regrets is like taking the plunge from going from a van to a shop. It's a big learning curve. Almost in a way, it sort of is a little bit easier because you've got a bigger space, you can store more stock, you're not having to worry about that sort of things. But trying to pick up some of that commercial coffee in a shop environment's difficult. Like I've never had to clean tables before. I've never had to mop a floor at the end of the day. Like I just drove the van off. But a lot of like, I've picked that up as I've gone along, and a lot of my staff have become like really helpful at that. Hired a couple of people from some big companies like Black Sheep. She's fantastic. Another girl from Rise, so a lot of like commercial coffee. They do it really well, and they've brought a lot of tips for the shop and like, oh, how about we do it this way? And yeah, it's a no-brainer. It makes total sense when they say it. That's been
Take the job out of it altogether now. Coffee shops don't exist. Events don't exist. The police
control room.
That doesn't.
How many things?
God forbid, yeah, but none of that exists. So everything you've ever done, so graphic design, everything, none of it exists. And you're 16 years old, leaving school. What do you want to do? Where do you want to be?
Something really involved with people. If I could take like you said before, if you do something you enjoy, like it doesn't become like work. So like, if I could work in music, if I could work in like live music events, like people jobs, I seem to thrive in. Maybe something to do with running, like PTing, maybe that sort of thing. I think maybe see you in 18 months' time when I was 2 years. When I get
do you know what?
The 2 year curse comes up.
I was gonna mention the 2 year point, but I thought no, because it seems like you're so passionate about this idea that it's going to be longer than 2 years. This one, surely. Where can people find you?
On socials, Life Lately, Life Lately twice. On Instagram there, or to 8A Winkley Street. Straight in the middle of the street. I'd say you can't miss us, but you can. Yeah. We blend in. It's a really like neutral, like stony coloured shop. There's no sign on it at all. It's set from some text in the window that says Life Lately, and we've got a board outside which is mirrored. Very, very faintly says Life Lately at the bottom of it. It's cool. To come to the shop, you have to. It's very hard to stumble upon it, but people do. Yeah.
What are your opening times are? I'm going to I'll link all this in the bio for the thing anyway. But
Monday to Friday we do 7-5 at the minute. Saturday 9-5, Sunday 9-3. Thinking about doing some later nights, Fridays and Saturdays. Can open the shop till 11. So potential. Maybe we'll put some alcohol in there at some point. Maybe going into more of like an evening vibe, Fridays and Saturdays. Yeah. Got a crowd for it. Evening coffee's quite big, Preston. Yeah. Big culture.
When you say add alcohol in, do you mean alcohol in your coffee or alcohol separate?
Separate but with a twist. So like espresso martinis maybe. There's some things in the works. Think of it's like Friday night, like later night, just options for people. Got the space, might as well use it. It's a big space. You've been like, might as well use it.
Like I said, when I came out, I loved it, and I thought the coffee was really, really nice. And I never knew it was her. And I said this to you before. I had no idea that was her, and then I got invited to go and meet someone there. And when I went, I thought, this is cool, man. Yeah. And why have I didn't know about this place? So, mate, I wish you all the success. I really do. And thanks for doing this as well. I appreciate
anytime. It. I absolutely love it.
Thanks, mate. That's it, guys. So thanks for tuning into this one. Thanks for watching if you're on the video, or listening if you're on the audio. Same again, I'm taking suggestions for guests still, and I'm taking feedback as well. If you've got any feedback, please let me know in the comments. Visit the shop. Go to Life Lately. It's such a cool coffee shop, and honestly, I can't stress it enough. I really enjoyed it, and I love the vibe that you went for as well. So everybody get there.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks for tuning in, guys. See you in the next one.